My husband's sister bullied me for years, wore black to our wedding, then tried to kill me with shrimp, so we had her locked up. I, 29, female, have been married to my husband Harry for 7 years. I adore everything about our marriage, except for the fact that his sister, Kayla, is part of our lives. She brings nothing but negativity. Now don't get me wrong, I used to like Kayla when I first met her, but over time my opinion shifted. She is incredibly manipulative, toxic, and negative. I've worked hard for years to avoid upsetting her because I know exactly what kind of person she is. In the past, when Harry was 17, he dated Kayla's best friend. They eventually broke up because he admitted he had only been with her due to Kayla's pressure. Later, at 23, when he was single again, Kayla insisted he date another one of her friends. He refused, and it turned into a huge fight. She even went crying to their parents, claiming she wanted him to marry someone she approved of. Luckily, his parents didn't take her side. When Harry and I met and fell in love, his parents were very supportive of us. But Kayla immediately treated me with cold hostility. Whenever I was around, she would bring up Harry's exes for no reason, constantly reminding him how well they were doing and suggesting he should reconnect with them. Both Harry and I found this strange, so he asked her to stop. Instead of backing off, Kayla would lash out at me, accusing me of being insecure and jealous, saying Harry shouldn't be with someone like me. Whenever his parents invited us to dinner, she would conveniently bump into one of his exes and invite them along, claiming it was out of politeness. She also obsessively checks my Instagram even though she doesn't follow me. Since my account is public, I notice she's always the first to view my stories. If a guy comments on one of my posts, she immediately runs to Harry, complaining that I post inappropriate pictures. Harry and I usually laugh at her ridiculous accusations, but it gets tiring. When Harry and I decided to move in together, she urged him to break up with me, saying I had too many flaws and she could easily find him someone much better. That comment stung, especially since I had always treated her with kindness. Unfortunately, once Harry and I got engaged, her behavior escalated. During our engagement party, while everyone congratulated us, Kayla sat silently. Then, to everyone's shock, she abruptly stood up and walked out. Later that night, she called Harry, crying and screaming, furious that she hadn't been told first. She insisted she deserved to know about the engagement before anyone else. Not long after, she sent me a bizarre, borderline threatening message, saying I should be a good wife to her brother since she had always been the only woman in his life. The message made me cringe, so I ignored it, leaving her on read, which I knew would enrage her even more. After that, Kayla started openly ignoring me whenever we crossed paths. Yet for some reason, she continued involving herself in all the wedding preparations. At my dress fitting and bridal shower, she criticized everything, constantly mocking my choices. Both Harry and my future mother-in-law confronted her multiple times, but she didn't stop. One day, while I was discussing centerpieces with my mother-in-law, Kayla overheard and immediately mocked me again, sneering that my choice had no class, and that this was why she wanted Harry to marry someone better. That was the breaking point. I completely lost it. I shouted at her that I couldn't take her constant insults anymore and told her she was no longer invited to our wedding. Kayla was stunned, gasping like she never expected me to stand up to her. Even my mother-in-law was furious with her and supported my decision. Later, Kayla ran to Harry, complaining that I embarrassed her and demanding he control me since I was going to be his wife. Harry firmly told her he supported me, and unless she apologized, she wouldn't be welcome at the wedding. Begrudgingly, she sent me a long apology, but I was drained from all the wedding planning. I saw the message and once again left it on read. I didn't want to get caught up in her drama. But in the end, she did come to our wedding because I didn't want her spreading rumors about us later. Our wedding had a theme of pink hues and pastels, which every guest respected, except Kayla. She showed up in a floor-length black gown with a veil, dressed as if she were attending a funeral. We were stunned. She even went around telling people she was mourning the loss of her brother to another woman. During the reception, Harry noticed how uncomfortable I was with her outfit and confronted her. She tried to play the victim, insisting she had the right to wear whatever she wanted, and accusing me of being controlling. Eventually, my mother-in-law and father-in-law asked her to leave because she wouldn't stop causing a scene. It was humiliating, and ever since, I've kept my distance from her. When I gave birth to my son, Nate, I refused to let Kayla near him. She tried to fight it, but Harry and his parents fully supported me. They understood exactly why I didn't want her around our baby and respected my decision. 2 years ago, Kayla suffered a miscarriage with her boyfriend Jamie, and it devastated her. It was truly a sad time for everyone, and although Harry and I felt sympathy for her, We already had Nate, so we decided to show some compassion. We invited her over to bond with our son. To my surprise, she was very sweet with Nate despite the way she treated me. At first it seemed like she had changed, but over time she slipped back into her old patterns. She constantly complained about how hard her life was, always blaming ex-bosses or ex-friends for her misfortunes. I've noticed she never accepts blame, rarely admits fault, and always plays the victim to win people over. This year, she decided to get married and invited everyone, except us. Harry was shocked, especially since we thought things had improved between us. When we confronted her, she claimed she couldn't invite me because she feared I would try to upstage her wedding. I called her and asked why she thought that when I'd never done anything to her. She then admitted she had intentionally worn black to our wedding, and now she was afraid I might pull the same stunt. I was furious at how manipulative she was and immediately told Harry. He spoke with his parents, and together they told Kayla that not only would they refuse to pay for her wedding, but they also wouldn't attend. Kayla broke down in tears and blamed me for the fallout. Harry quickly reminded her that she had openly admitted her own mistake, so she had no right to point fingers at me. She tried to justify herself by saying our wedding was years ago and that I should just get over it. When my in-laws still refused to pay for her wedding, Kayla reached out to me directly. She apologized and begged for forgiveness. As much as I hate to admit it, she can be very sweet and persuasive when she wants something. I forgave her because I wanted to move on, and her wedding with Jamie went smoothly. We all attended and even had a good time. But less than 6 months later, Kayla was on our doorstep, complaining that her marriage was falling apart. Harry and I let her stay with us for a few days, and during that time she vented endlessly about Jamie. They were struggling to get pregnant, and she blamed him entirely. Whenever I tried to offer advice, she brushed it off and insisted it was all his fault. When she wasn't ranting about her husband, she shifted her focus onto our lives, often inventing problems that didn't exist. For instance, I usually go to the gym before work. On days when I'm running late, I take my work clothes with me so I can shower and change after my workout. Kayla noticed this habit and started asking invasive questions: why I needed to shower, why I even went to the gym at all. I didn't think much of it, and explained that I liked staying in shape and didn't want to show up at the office sweaty. She would just purse her lips and nod. Eventually, things settled down with Jamie and she went back to living with him. One weekend, my husband and I went to have lunch with my in-laws, and Kayla and Jamie had also been invited. We left our son Nate with a babysitter since he usually got bored when adults sat around talking for hours and preferred staying home to play. During lunch, my mother-in-law began sharing how one of her friends had recently divorced after discovering her husband had cheated, and how she had taken half of his assets. Out of nowhere, Kayla interrupted to ask Harry if he and I had signed a prenup before getting married. The table went silent as she stared at him, completely ignoring my presence. Harry isn't one to sugarcoat things, so he told her bluntly that since we both earned well, we had no need for a prenup. Kayla snorted and said that with so many cheaters around, he could easily be blindsided one day. Her words hit me hard, so I asked her directly what she was trying to imply. Without hesitation, she accused me of cheating, claiming that because I always carried a change of clothes, it was obvious I was meeting someone else. She said it was her duty as his sister to warn him. I was stunned. My in-laws immediately jumped in, scolding her for making baseless accusations and telling her to mind her own business. But Kayla, unfazed, went further, joking about whether Nate was even Harry's son since he didn't really look like him. I watched Harry's face turn crimson with anger. I had never seen him this furious. He glared at her and snapped that this was exactly why she wasn't a mother, because she didn't deserve to be one. He said her child was better off in heaven than with someone like her. Kayla's jaw dropped as Harry went on, calling her shameless and accusing her of trying to destroy everything because she had nothing good in her own life. He told her she was a loser, sitting around all day while her husband worked hard, and instead of projecting her insecurities on us and demanding to know about prenups, she should focus on her failing marriage. Kayla burst into tears, sobbing uncontrollably, but when she turned to Jamie for comfort, he stayed silent and didn't say a word. I had never seen Harry lose his composure like that. Finally, Kayla ran to the bathroom in tears while Harry sat fuming. My mother-in-law rushed to calm him down as I rubbed his hand. He leaned over and apologized to me for what his sister had said about our son, and I nodded, understanding how deeply she had crossed the line. I was grateful, in a way, that Harry had defended me so strongly after years of her torment. Once he calmed down, Harry apologized apologized briefly to Jamie, but refused to acknowledge Kayla. After that lunch, we cut all contact with her. Her behavior wasn't just hurting me, it was clearly affecting Harry too. We blocked her everywhere so she couldn't reach us. My in-laws later admitted that Kayla had gone way too far this time. They saw how their usually composed son had snapped after years of her needling. It's been a year now without any contact, and life has been peaceful. 2 months ago, I found out I was pregnant. It was a complete surprise since we hadn't even been trying, but Harry and I felt blessed to welcome another child. We decided to wait for the right moment to share the news and chose Harry's birthday celebration, which my in-laws were hosting in their backyard. Close family and friends were invited. Somehow, Kayla heard about it and decided to show up. Harry and I were both stunned when she arrived. She hugged Harry and told him how much she had missed him, apologizing for their last fight. Harry took my hand and told her she should be apologizing to me since she had attacked my character. Kayla nodded, turned to me, and said she was sorry. She claimed she had been going to therapy for months and had realized how wrong she had been to humiliate me. I didn't believe a word of it, but I didn't want to make a scene in front of everyone, so I just nodded. My mother-in-law and Phil checked in with us right after and assured us that they had no idea Kayla was coming. He said if we were uncomfortable, they would ask her to leave since the party was for Harry, but Harry didn't want to make a scene, so we agreed to let it go. Throughout the party, I noticed Kayla laughing and mingling with everyone, which felt odd. She seemed overly cheerful, completely out of character. Still, she had mentioned therapy, so I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt. When it was time to cut the cake, Harry gave a heartfelt speech about how he considered himself the luckiest man alive, grateful for another year and a wife like me. His words made me blush, and I couldn't help but feel proud that our love was still as strong as it had been when we first started dating. After his speech, we shared our own news with everyone. Smiling ear to ear, we announced that we were expecting a baby. For a moment, the room went silent before erupting into joy. My mother cried as she hugged me, while my in-laws had tears in their eyes as they congratulated us. Everyone was thrilled, asking about baby names and sharing their excitement. The only person who didn't share in the joy was Kayla. She looked stunned, and at first, I thought she was just processing the news. But then her expression hardened, and she walked away, clearly upset. I worried she might cause another scene, but I got distracted with others coming over to congratulate me. When it was time to serve lunch, I stood to help, but my parents and in-laws insisted I sit down and rest. I agreed and waited for Harry to bring me a plate. That's when Kayla appeared, smiling broadly, holding a plate of food. She loudly announced that she wanted to serve me herself because she was so happy about my pregnancy. As she handed me the plate, she added that it was her way of making up for all the times she'd been rude in the past. I nodded politely and accepted the plate. But when I looked down, my heart sank. She had given me shrimp. Everyone in the family knows I'm highly allergic to shrimp, so I was shocked she had even placed it on my plate. Disappointed, I quietly got up to get my own food instead. At that moment, Jamie came over to congratulate me on the pregnancy. As we chatted, he noticed I wasn't eating and asked why. I explained that Kayla had given me shrimp, probably by mistake, and since I was allergic, I couldn't eat it. Jamie smiled, told me not to worry, and offered to take the plate himself since he enjoyed shrimp. Relieved, I handed it to him and went to get new food. Not even 5 minutes later, Jamie started gagging and retching violently at the table. Everyone froze in shock as he stumbled up, clutching his throat. Harry and Kayla rushed to his side as he collapsed. My heart pounded as I realized something was horribly wrong. He fainted while people gasped and panicked. Kayla ran to the plate, looked at it, and then turned to me in horror, asking if I had given my plate to her husband. I nodded numbly. Someone immediately called an ambulance, and Jamie was rushed to the hospital. Kayla cried uncontrollably, but she also kept shooting furious looks in my direction. Later, we were informed that Jamie had been poisoned. My knees nearly gave out. I knew the truth. Whatever was in that plate was meant for me. If Jamie hadn't taken it, it could have been me and my unborn baby lying in that hospital bed. Harry, my in-laws, and my parents have no idea about this detail. The police were called, and they took the food for testing since no one understood what had been laced into it. As I type this, Jamie is still recovering in the hospital, and Kayla has been staying there with him. My husband and I have been flooded with calls from relatives, everyone asking what happened and who could have possibly poisoned him. My in-laws are shaken to their core, so much so that they're staying with us because they're terrified to be alone at home after what happened. No one has any idea about what really happened. Everything had been going so well, and then this nightmare unfolded. I am terrified to admit to everyone that the poisoned plate was originally meant for me, that Kayla personally served it to me. If this becomes a police investigation, I'll have no choice but to tell them the truth. The guilt is eating me alive, but what scares me more is realizing what my sister-in-law is capable of. She has no limits, and now I feel like my children and I can never be safe around her. I refuse to expose my family to someone who has already tried to poison me. I keep asking myself if I'm the one at fault for letting Jamie take my plate, and if that makes me responsible for what happened to him. Wow, I never expected thousands of comments in just a few hours. My hands were shaking when I first typed this, and I still haven't been able to sleep. Even though many of you insist it isn't my fault, I can't shake the guilt. I should have thrown that plate away, but instead, I let Jamie eat it. I keep crying, thinking of what could happen to him. Harry knows something is wrong and has been hovering over me constantly, thinking I'm just anxious about the situation. He has no idea about what I know regarding his sister. I realize now that I need to sit everyone down and calmly explain what happened. I'm not sure if they'll believe me, but thankfully my in-laws have security cameras all around their house. Since the party was in their backyard, the footage should clearly show Kayla giving me that plate. I plan to talk to them all tonight and will update after. I finally sat down with Harry and my in-laws during dinner. My heart was pounding, and the weight of the truth pressed on my chest. I took a deep breath and explained everything. How Kayla had served me the shrimp plate, how Jamie unknowingly ate it, and how it led to his poisoning. Their shocked faces mirrored the disbelief I had been living with. My mother-in-law and father-in-law exchanged worried glances, while Harry's face shifted from confusion to rage. I admitted I had been terrified to speak up, afraid of the fallout and what Kayla might do next. My mother-in-law, ever pragmatic, immediately suggested checking the cameras. Phil agreed and they pulled up the footage. The truth was undeniable. On the screen, Kayla could be seen handing me the plate and everything that followed. The evidence was overwhelming. Harry clenched his fists, his anger barely contained, while his parents sat in stunned silence, horrified at the depth of their daughter's malice. They agreed the footage had to go to the police. This wasn't just family drama, it was a crime. Phil and Harry planned to visit Jamie once he recovered, since he would be the one who needed to press charges. I don't know how Jamie will react, and every time I think about him taking my poisoned plate, my stomach twists. I can't sleep, I can't eat, I'm consumed by worry. It's been a month, and I finally have an update. My in-laws handed the video to the police, and Kayla was arrested. She didn't even deny it. She broke down in tears and admitted everything. Harry spoke to Jamie after he recovered, and Jamie was as shocked as the rest of us. Harry urged him to press charges, telling him that regardless of his decision, he would always be part of our family. In the end, Jamie not only pressed charges but also filed for divorce. Kayla tried manipulating my in-laws, calling them and begging for forgiveness. She told them she's pregnant and pleaded with them to bail her out for the sake of their grandchild. But after everything she's done, none of us can trust her anymore. Phil firmly told Kayla that they were done coddling her and that she needed to finally take responsibility for her actions. My mother-in-law was heartbroken about what was happening to her daughter, but even she admitted that what Kayla had done couldn't just be brushed aside. The police uncovered clear evidence that she had tampered with the food, intending to harm me, which backfired and ended up poisoning her own husband. She was officially charged with multiple crimes related to food tampering, endangering life, and causing harm. Despite this, she kept begging Jamie not to press charges, insisting it was somehow all my fault. Thankfully, Jamie ignored her pleas. He was determined to see her punished. Her court hearing was scheduled, and this time, there was no way for her to escape justice. To everyone asking, my son and I are okay. He has no idea what his aunt has done, but Harry and I have agreed that one day we'll sit down with him and explain the truth. We want him to understand and be cautious in the future. It won't be an easy conversation, but it's one we feel is necessary. In the meantime, I've been going for ultrasounds every 2 weeks as my doctor advised. We decided not to find out the baby's gender. We wanted it to be a surprise. My parents know everything and have been very protective of me, especially during this pregnancy. They worry about how all of this might affect affect my mental health, so they've encouraged me to go to therapy. I agreed, because even though I try to act normal, I've developed a deep fear since Kayla tried to poison me. Now I feel uneasy eating food unless I've prepared it myself. Harry understands my fear and has been supportive in every possible way, and I hope with time I'll be able to overcome it. It's been 8 months since my last update, and Kayla is now serving time in prison. She was found guilty on all charges. I didn't attend the court proceedings, but my in-laws did, and they told me what Kayla confessed. In court, she admitted she had been jealous of me for years, saying she never wanted an outsider to marry her brother. She had always imagined one of her best friends ending up with Harry, which was why she constantly bullied me when we started dating. When Harry and I announced my pregnancy at his birthday party, Kayla said she was overcome with jealousy because she had planned to announce her own pregnancy that same day. After her previous miscarriage, she wanted her moment to shine, and she claimed that our news stole it from her. According to her, pregnancy hormones clouded her judgment, and in her anger she mixed a small amount of rat poison into my food. She claimed she only wanted me hospitalized, not to cause lasting harm to me or the baby. She said she never imagined I would pass the plate to Jamie and argued that since I poisoned her husband, she deserved a lighter sentence. The judge rejected her plea, and she was sentenced to prison, finally removed from our lives for a long time. Jamie went through with the divorce and is now free of her. Over the past months, we've stayed close with him, inviting him to family gatherings. He and I have spoken, and I've apologized to him over and over for handing him that plate. He assured me repeatedly that it wasn't my fault. Hearing him say that brought me to tears, because I had been replaying that moment in my head endlessly, wishing I had done something different so he wouldn't have suffered. As for us, Harry and I recently welcomed a baby girl into our family. Despite the shadows of the past, her arrival has filled our lives with light and joy. Nate is overjoyed to be a big brother and dotes on his little sister constantly. Watching our children bond has filled our hearts with gratitude and healing. Through all of this, my parents and in-laws have stood by us, helping us navigate every painful and joyful moment as we begin this new chapter together.